Welcome back to the Change Your Life podcast. My name is Dwight Gillespie, and I am your host. Why don't you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button, go ahead and comment below, share it with your friends, do all those good things that we do. And I want to thank you for tuning in today. And what we talk about here, we give you practical information on living a better life. And that doesn't necessarily mean getting rich or anything. It's more of a, for me anyway, more of a spiritual thing and a positivity thing, and not, and not having people take advantage of you kind of thing, and weeding out a lot of negativity in your life. It's also about a big part of living better for me is about acceptance, and a lot of things I had to come to accept in that this is okay. There's a saying in one of the recovery groups that I go to. It says, "Let go or get dragged," and I never really understood what that meant until one day I'm sitting there and I had a disagreement with somebody, and I had I had to let them know I was right, and I wanted to get that last word in, right? And I wanted to pray, you're wrong. And my friend said, let it go. Let it go. This person's never going to agree with you. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Why do you need to know? Closure. I need closure. And I laugh because, I think about it today and I say to myself, because I hear the word closure, and that's what we're talking about today is closure, because that's what all this is really about. And closure is like this with acceptance, right? Closure means, to me, right? People talk about closure like, oh, some people, their family members get murdered, God forbid, right? Family members, we need this person to be, electrocuted for closure. I don't know how that gives you closure because your loved one is still gone. Like this idea of closure. Like, what is it? What is it about closure? A lot of it happens. People talk about closure in relationships, right? Closure. And I've heard it our other channel, which I'll plug right now, right? It's called Trash TV Review. And my ex-wife, she said, why do you watch that Maury stuff? I said, because usually I'd have to go to a family reunion to see white trash of this caliber, right? But anyway, on Trash TV Review, I hear it all the time on the Maury show, especially. I need closure. So what does that mean? And this is like if I was an alien, I come from outer space, right? There's a great movie called Starman with Jeff Bridges. It's one of his earlier movies. It's a good movie. Check it out. And anyway, he comes down from another planet. He knows nothing about Earth. Like, he knows nothing about it. So he only learns exactly what he's observing right there, So I think of closure. Like if I was an alien coming down and I heard this term closure, what would I think that closure is? Closure is my need for you to admit you're wrong and I'm right, and that you totally screwed this relationship up, and that you're a piece of crap, and that everything is your fault, and da-da-da-da-da. And that's what I would think closure is, because that's what it seems to be. Because oftentimes when you're in those conflicts, you're never going to get this thing called closure. And all it is an opportunity to see this person again, right? To get in there, because you're not done. You're not over. You still must have feelings for this person. Because if you hated them as much as you say, you wouldn't need for them to say, you're right, I'm wrong. I was horrible in this. Because if you did hear that, you would say, oh, I'm so glad for you to admit that. Now we can be together again, right? Because that would be the only reason. Like, what is this thing called closure? What does that mean to you? What does it mean to me? And again, I hear it all the time, and it's a control issue. This is an absolute control issue. I need to control this. I need you to admit that you're wrong and I'm right. And from my experience, even in my day-to-day life, nobody is ever all wrong or all right. In relationships, that is. Somebody puts a gun to your head just for they're wrong. You're, like that. That's different. That's a different thing. With the closure, I really believe that it's just ego. Like, ego needs this. Your ego needs to hear that you're okay. Your ego needs, but listen, if you're really done with this person, what good is it going to be to see them and to open that argument? I've got into argument. People need to get that last word, and they want to hear you admit it. And after a while, it's just like, why? I said, why? I had a good friend. He broke up with this girl, and he's like, I need her to know I was a good guy. If you were a good guy, then you don't have to worry about it. If you're a good guy, it's her loss. What do you need her to say to you? She's with somebody else. Like, it's done. It's over. What do you need to hear? I need closure. What do you mean? It is closed. It's closed. She told you, drop dead. I don't want to see you anymore. That sounds pretty closed. Like, I don't know, there's not a lot opening there. Like, what's open that you need to close in that given situation? When somebody tells you, look, we're done, go away, I don't want you anymore, right? And stalkers say things like, I need closure. Wait, closure what? What is that? It means in the bathtub, you slice her up, you cut her into little pieces, you put her in a bag. I got closure. No, like, it's not the way you get closure, It can't lead to any good. Don't belabor the point. Well, I need to know why. So wait a second. You want her to go through a list of reasons she hates you? So what? So you can refute them? She says, what if she tells you, you have a little penis and it's not good enough for me? What are you going to do? You don't need so much closure now, do you? Yeah, now we're okay. Hey, whoa, easy, what do you need her to tell you? Like, what is it? Well, I need to know why she broke up. Why? So that you can treat the next group? Just be who you are. If you don't think that you did anything wrong, then you're fine with the next one. You move on. Move on. Like, there's no information that can really be gleaned from that's going to help you at all. There's nothing she can say. And what if she does, like, attack your manhood or whatever? And ladies, if he was cheating on you, and I mean this too, like, especially for the ladies, because guys are scumbags, let's face it. A lot of guys are just scumbags. And if he was cheating with another, you don't need to know what she does better than you or anything like that. Who cares? Because let me tell you something. Those who live by the sword, right? That's all the biblical thing. And those who live by the sword, so shall they perish. And I always think about that, about cheaters, right? I would never be with a woman who got with me while she was with somebody else. Because you want to know something? She cheated on him, she'll cheat on me. And they'll say, oh, but I love you. Yeah, well, you said the same thing to him when you got with him. I don't need to know why you're moving on. You're moving on. It's done. It's done. Let's face it. If he's moving on, if he went with some other, and again, this is another one too. I got to say this. So she's not a home wrecker. If you're with a dude and he gets with another girl, right? He's the one that made the commitment to you, not her. This isn't her fault. It's him. He's the one that's abusing your trust. He is the one that's violating your trust. He is the one that is violating whatever sanctity your relationship had, He's the one doing, not her. Yeah, there's a good chance she didn't even know, right? But again, if he's going to cheat on her too. He's going to tell her the same lies he told eventually. It's what's going to happen. So what closure do you need? You don't need to know anything more about that person other than that they're a cheater, they're a liar, they're a schemer, they're a scammer, they're all those things. There's no closure to be gained. That's your closure right there. You know who he is. You know who he is. Good riddance to him. You get with somebody and next time, don't have sex with him so fast. Get to know this person before you do it. Because any guy who gets in your pants right away, by the way, he's got no respect for you. I don't care what happens. And if he does, it's not a guy you want to be with anyway. So this idea of closure, think about it. Think about what it is you really want to get from this. What is it what information do you think you're really going to get that's going to be beneficial to you? Do you really want a list of, she's a better cook than you are. She gives better oral sex than you do. She actually dusts the dust bunnies underneath the thing. These are the things. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares why he likes her more? Who cares? Guys, the same thing. If she left you for another, or she left it all, who cares? What difference does it make? It's done. Somebody gave me some great dating advice a long time ago, which I didn't take immediately, and I should have. Would have cost me a marriage and a house. Like, right? I could have saved a marriage and a house. And that is, if she's not into you, leave her alone, right? So, well, I can show her what a great guy I am. And he said, eventually she's going to remember why she wasn't into you. Like, even if you can convince her to get with you, eventually she'll remember why she wasn't, right? And it'll be a problem. And it was, my second wife, she was hot. Like, she was way out of my league. I gotta tell you right now, she was hot. She was smart. She was a lot of different things. And I can't, look, I talk some about her sometimes, but she was a good woman. She really was. And she was out of my league. And I convinced her, I'm funny, I'm charming, I'm all that kind of crap. But I convinced her, yeah? I was also a bum who didn't like to work very well. I always worked, but I was always in menial jobs, right? Anyway, eventually she remembered. She remembered. Oh, yeah. That was it. You know? And again, that closure thing, but what is it you don't like? You know, like, look, dude, if you could change it, you would change it, you know, but it doesn't work that way. Like, you are who you are, you know? And it takes these paradigm shifts, like Stephen Covey talks about. You know, if you want to get better, do some work on yourself. But you're not going to do that in an instant because some girl tells you, well, you know what? You don't work hard. You're not ambitious. You know, you don't have a good enough job. You don't make enough money. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. There's nothing wrong with a man or woman saying to their partner, you are not ambitious enough and you don't make enough money. And I am not satisfied with you working some menial job and sitting home most of the time playing video games and doing nothing. Like, I have ambitions in my life. There's nothing wrong with that. People who set goals for themselves and they want to attain those. I'm not saying money is everything. Don't get me wrong, but ambition goes a long way. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you've set that mark and these people aren't meeting it, then that's it. You know, and that's another part of it too. Is like, look, if these people are not meeting these expectations, and there's nothing wrong with having expectations. And don't give me that crowd. Oh, you can't have who you love. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You can. You can say this person isn't cutting it. This isn't enough for me. I want more out of life. And you can go look at our last video that talked about making goals and changing your life and things like this. And that was the last video we did. And listen, and you can change and you can set these goals and you don't need closure. Closure is, it's ridiculous. It doesn't exist. All it is your ego and wanting to get that last word in and wanting to prove that you're not as bad as the person said you were, you know, and it rarely works. And I bring it down again. I talk about the death penalty or whatever, you know, like pro or con. I'm not going to get into that. I am not a death penalty advocate myself personally, but the thing is killing another, it's not going to bring your loved one back. Like, this whole idea of closure in any way, shape, or form doesn't really work. It doesn't, people say, oh, you need closure. Do you? Deal with it. You know, deal with it. Deal with it personally. Deal with it internally. Because, you know, it comes down to if you're waiting for an apology from somebody before you can get better from it, if you're waiting for somebody to do something in order for you to deal with it and accept it, it's never going to get better. You know, I think it was either Buddha or Confucius or one of those guys, one of those Asian philosophies that, you know, they asked about, you know, a snake bite. And he said, if you wait for the snake to explain why it bit you, you'll die from the poison. Take care of the poison. Don't worry about why the snake bit you, you know? You have to take care of the poison. And that's what this is about. And that's what closure is. Closure is saying, well, I want the snake to say it's sorry. I didn't do anything. I was just walking in the woods and the snake bit me. So what? You know, my mother didn't like me. I don't know why. She should explain it and apologize. It's not going to happen. If your parent is a narcissist, I was raised by a narcissist. I know what I'm talking about. They don't see that they're wrong. In fact, they're going to tell you that you're an evil child, you're a bad child, and you're wrong for not liking your mother, you know, and all that other crap. You're never going to get what you're looking for. Accept that. And I'll tell you, that's your closure, is accepting it. This person's a narcissist. I'm never going to get what I need from them. Move on. Move on, or it'll kill you. Let go, get dragged. And that's the bottom line. My name is Dwight Gillespie. This is the Change Your Life channel. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to say be well. Have a great week. I wish you well. God bless. If you haven't done so already, as I said, hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that notification button. By all means, comment, share with your friends. We answer all comments here. My name is Dwight Gillespie. You have a wonderful week. Be well now.